Alright guys, I'm going to show you how to create a razor macro which will bandage a fighter and also equip a weapon if your hands are empty, which is useful if your weapon breaks while training. Alright, we open up razor here, we go to the macros tab, we select new to make a new macro. We can name it Spar or whatever you would like to name it, it doesn't matter. You select that macro on the list, you begin recording. You go back into your Ultima Online game, double click your bandages and select the fighter, and then stop recording. Now we select the double click line here, right click it, hit convert to double click by type so that it will double click any bandages that happen to be in your backpack, and then we select wait for target and we go down here after right clicking and hit edit timeout, and defaults 30 seconds, which is way too long. I changed this to 1 on almost all of my macros, and basically what that means is if there's some lag or something, the macro won't hold up on that line because it's waiting for the cursor icon to appear for 30 seconds. And then we go here to absolute target. Absolute target itself is actually just fine how it is, but we do want to right click it and go into special constructs and insert a pause wait, and then we will pause for 6500 milliseconds, which is 6.5 seconds, and that will give the bandages time to apply before the macro loops back over and tries to apply bandages again. And then we select the pause 6.5 seconds line, in special constructs insert an if conditional, and this is where it checks to see if your hands are empty. Go down the list here and we select if right hand empty, insert. Now that line has appeared in your macro. We select that line, right click it, we begin recording here, we go back into Ultima Online, lift the dagger or skinning knife or bow or whatever weapon you are using to train with and drop it onto the paper doll, and then we once again stop recording. And now we have to do some editing here. The lift one, it will appear similar to this here in your macro. Right click it, convert to lift by type. That way if I have say 10 daggers in my backpack for training purposes, it'll lift all of them until they all break. And then we right click that, we go to special constructs, we insert a pause wait here, or personally I do. I don't think it's really necessary, but I insert a half-second pause there because in case there's just a little bit of server lag or something, I don't like my macros to get hung up on something like that. Alright, and now our macro is applying bandages and pausing and then checking if your hand is empty. One other thing here, select equip to, special constructs, end if, so that the if statement ends there. And everybody should know that this macro isn't universal across your characters. This equip to line right here, this will be different for all of your characters depending on their paper doll ID and whatnot. So you have to re-record at least that part of the macro if you want to use it over multiple characters. Alright, and now we've got the macro basically set up. I'll unequip my dagger here so that we can test this out and make sure it works. I attack the fighter, I'll tell him to stay so he doesn't fight back. Now he's taking a little bit of damage here. I'll select loop for the macro, select play, go back into the game. Alright, he's beginning to apply the bandages. After 6.5 seconds have passed, he checks to see if his hands are empty, and they are, so he equips a new dagger. And that's basically it, guys. I hope that you find that helpful.